13 today. We're still working our way through Matthew 13. We're in the next parable. We're taking this chapter step by step, one parable at a time, seeing what Jesus had to say to his disciples as he's teaching them about the kingdom of heaven. So Matthew chapter 13, verses 45 through 46. And I want to ask you a question as we get turned there in our Bibles, as we get started this morning. How many of you struggle with misplacing things and then you can't find them again, like your car keys? Okay, good. Hey, that's like half of us. Sarah would probably say, yeah, Lance is one of those people. Sarah, am I one of those people? Yeah. Sarah sometimes she's a good wife, she'll make me lunch sometimes, and she knows I'm not going to remember to bring the lunch box, and so she sets my keys and my wallet and everything like right on top of the lunch box so I don't forget it. Because if she doesn't, if something is not in a specific area, I'm not going to remember it. Like I'm terrible at finding things, and it's a difficulty. It's a great frustration to be searching for something and not be able to find it, isn't it? Search for your car keys, you search for your wallet, you search for something. It is a huge frustration. I remember years ago, this wasn't frustrating for me, this was quite funny, but years ago, I was pulling up to my parents' house for Easter, and I was getting there later than everybody else. I'd had to close up church and finish all my stuff, and so I was getting there after all my family had gotten to my parents' house. They live in Washington, Missouri, so I pull in, and my nieces and nephews, I've got 3 of them that are older than all the rest. So I've got 3 of them that are, there's like this big gap between the oldest 3 and then the rest of my kids and our nieces and nephews. And so the old 3 were walking out of my parents' garage as I'm pulling up with these big baskets of Easter eggs. And they're getting ready to go out in my parents' yard and hide all these Easter eggs for the little ones, for my kids and my other sister's kids that were much smaller at the time. And as I'm pulling up, I just had this wonderful idea. Wouldn't it be funny if they didn't hide any of the Easter eggs and we just told everybody that they did? And so I got out of the car real quick and I was like, guys, come here. And I'm a good dad and I'm a really good uncle, and I was like, hey, come here. Don't hide anything. Just put that stuff in the garage, tuck it away. We put it behind my dad's truck. And I said, just stand out here for 10 minutes. And when you come in, then I'll tell all the kids that you hid all the eggs and it's time to go find them. And they're like, sweet, great idea. They didn't want to hide them anyway, So they tucked them away. I don't know what they did for 10 minutes. I go inside and I'm talking to my kids and I'm visiting with my little nieces and nephews and my sisters. And when the big ones came in, they gave me the wink. I was like, all right, it's on. And so I got everybody by my parents' sliding glass doors in their kitchen. I got all the little kids. I was like, come on, guys. And I got them all hyped up. Are you ready for Easter eggs? And they're like, yeah. They just wanted candy so bad. I said, all right. And they got so excited, I opened the sliding glass door, but the screen door was still shut. They were so excited that one of them ran into the screen door and fell back. It's like, whoa, don't be that excited. So then I opened the screen door. All the kids go charging out, and they're searching for eggs. And they're searching everywhere. It's like, guys, I hit them really good. You gotta really look. And my parents don't know, and nobody else knows. It's just me and the teenagers. And they're dying laughing in the back, and I'm trying to be real serious. You got to keep looking. And the little kids they're getting in the sewer drain. They're trying to climb the trees. They're not finding any eggs anywhere. And after about 10 minutes or so, my sons are coming up. I can't find any eggs. You got to keep looking. You got to find the eggs. And then the adults are starting to wonder, why can't they find it? Where'd you guys hide the eggs? Well, after about 15 minutes, the kids start crying. And that's when I thought it was really hilarious. I'm like, there's no eggs, guys. And so they're all crying. They're going to my sisters, and my sisters think I'm a terrible person when I tell them there's no eggs. I'm dying laughing. The teenagers are hiding now because they think their parents are going to be really mad at them, which they were. It was great. It was a wonderful day. No matter how hard those kids searched, they were going to find eggs because there were no eggs to find. I'm really thankful they didn't go in the garage and find the basket. Then they would have been like, I tricked, I figured the whole thing out. It was funny. It was a funny day for me. I think it was a terrible nightmare for the kids. Probably one of the worst memories they have. It stinks to look for something, though, and not be able to find it, doesn't it? Sometimes we feel that way with our keys. Sometimes we feel that way with our wallet. Jesus is talking to his disciples here about finding the kingdom of heaven. And I was thinking about that story about my nieces and nephews as I was, preparing for today and reading this passage, because it struck me that what happened to my nieces and nephews and my own children, that will never happen to us as we search for Jesus. We never search and search and search and never find him. And Jesus gives this parable to his disciples to illustrate the fact that if you search for Jesus, if you search for the kingdom of heaven, you will find it. And Jesus says that much in Matthew chapter 7, that if you seek, you will find. If you knock on the door, it will be open to you. That if you ask, it will be given to you. And I think sometimes we feel like we're out in the world and we're searching. We just don't know what life is all about, and all life is so hard. And my friends, I'm here to tell you, and Jesus is here to tell you, as he will in this parable, that if you really search for him, you will find him. He wants to be found. He wants you to come with him into the kingdom of heaven. Look at the passage with me here, looking at verses 45 and 46. So this is another small parable, very similar to the parable we looked at last week, but there's a few key differences. So I want to look at this one with you. This is the parable of the pearl of great price. It says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls, who on finding one pearl of great value went and sold all that he had and bought it. So the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls, who on finding one of great value went and sold all he had so he could buy the pearl. That's what the kingdom of heaven is like. And as you look at this passage, and again, I'm gonna point out just a few ways that this one is different than the parable we studied last week. But as you look at this particular parable, one of the things that we need to pay attention to, one of the things that should catch your attention, is that there are three verbs in this parable. There's three things that this merchant, this man that Jesus is talking about, there's three things that he does, three actions he takes. One is that he's searching. Then he finds, and then he sold. He searches, he finds, and he sold everything that he had. And I want to look at each of those verbs, each of those actions with you. And as we look at them, to me, they raise three questions to us. Three questions come to my mind as I look at this parable with you. The first one is, what are you searching for? What are you searching for? This merchant was searching for fine pearls. Now, this is just a story. It's a parable. Jesus isn't trying to pass it off as a true story. He's using a fictional story to prove a point. Jesus does that all the time. We do that all the time in how we communicate. Now, the story I told you about the Easter eggs was very true. It was one of the greatest days of my life. Jesus is using this story of a merchant to describe the kingdom of heaven and its role in our life. And again, there's three things this man does. The first thing that he's doing in this story is that he is searching. And I want to ask you this morning, just as this merchant is searching for pearls, I want to ask you, what are you searching for in life? What are you searching for? Where is your attention? Where is your focus? What consumes your mind? What are you truly searching for? There's a couple key things here in this parable that I think are important for us in regard to this searching that the merchant is doing. One is that as he's searching, he is purposely putting himself in a place and a position to find what he's searching for. He's searching for pearls. And it says that as he's searching for fine pearls. Where would a merchant, now there's a few key pieces of information, where would a merchant go to find fine pearls? He's going to these different trading posts. He's searching in the marketplace for vendors who have fine pearls. He's searching in all these places where they would have large quantity of pearls, where this merchant could find them. He's going to the people who are out on the ocean gathering oysters and collecting them. He's going to all the places where he could find pearls. It's rather important, I think, to go to the right place if you're in search of something. You know, if you're going to look for pearls, it doesn't do you any good to go to a place that doesn't have pearls, does it? If you're wanting to gather pearls out of out of the ocean. You got to go first to the ocean, gather up the oysters. You got to go where the oysters are. I don't know if you know this, but oysters make pearls. I don't know if we're all tracking that. But if you really want to get to the very beginning of this thing, if you're looking for pearls, you got to go to the bays where the oysters stay. Not the deep ocean, but the bays, the shallow waters where the oysters grow. Then you got to gather up all the oysters. Then you got to start cracking them open and finding out which ones have pearls. You got to go through the whole process. You got to be where the oysters are. You got to be where the pearls are. You know, if I'm looking for oysters with pearls in them, I'm not going to go to a desert, am I? That's not the right place to find them. And this merchant is putting himself in both a place and a position to find the pearls that he's searching for. And I asked you earlier what you are searching for, and the truth is that if you're really searching for something, you'll go to the best place to find it. If you're really searching for something, you'll go to the best place to find it. This guy's searching for pearls. He's going to the marketplaces. He's going to the fishermen. He's going to all the places where he could find the best and the most quantity of pearls. So first you have to know what you're searching for. And then if you're really searching for it, are you putting yourself in the best place to be able to find it? You say you're searching for truth. You say you're searching for Jesus. You're searching for answers in life. Are you going to a place that will really offer you the answers? I don't know how many people say, I'm looking to have a relationship with Jesus. I want to have a relationship with Jesus, but then they spend every evening in the bar. Are you going to find Jesus at a bar? Probably not. Yeah, I want to have a relationship with Jesus. Yeah, I'm searching for that truth in my life. I want that meaning. But then you spend every waking hour playing video games. You go to the websites, you look at inappropriate things, you spend all your spare time doing stuff that in no way puts you in a place to find truth, to encounter Jesus. If you're really searching, wouldn't you put yourself in the right place? If you're really searching, wouldn't you put yourself in a position to find whatever it is you're looking for? You know, this merchant here, I'm extrapolating a little bit, but he is searching for fine pearls, so I'm imagining that as he's going to these marketplaces, as he's going to talk to people who would have a lot of pearls, he's probably looking through what they've got. You know, if he's going all the way to the source, he's probably got to get into the water to pull out a few oysters if he really wants to find pearls. He's got to get a little dirty. He's got to get a little wet if he's going to find real pearls. My question to you is, if you're really searching for truth, if you're really searching to have a relationship with Jesus, if you're really searching to find out why God's placed you here right now, why do you have the life that you have? Why do you have breath in your lungs? What is the meaning to your life? If you're really searching for those things, are you putting yourself in the best place and position to find the answer? Now, I think you've got a much better shot at encountering the real, true presence of Jesus Christ in a church as opposed to sitting at a bar, drinking beers with your buddies. I think you have a lot better odds of encountering the true, real presence of Jesus, reading His Word, worshiping Him, being around other believers. I think you've got a really good shot at finding the presence of God doing that, as opposed to ignoring all the people in your life, doing things that you know aren't right, going to those websites. I think the place helps. And I think the position matters. You know, you can come to church your whole life. You could come to church your whole life and never encounter Jesus. Absolutely, that's true. I think you have better odds. But you can put yourself in the right place, but still the position of your heart maybe isn't right. You've got to have the place and you've got to have the position. You can come to a church for decades, sit in the back corner, cross your arms, tune out everything you hear in the message, refuse to worship the Lord. You can sit there with a sour attitude, and you can get nothing out of it. That's absolutely the case. Absolutely. But I tell you what, you put yourself in the place and you put yourself in the position, and now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. And I'm not just saying, I am saying, hold on a second. I am not just saying that you can only encounter Jesus at church, just so we're clear. But boy, I know I encounter Jesus every time I'm here worshiping with all of you. Place is helpful. Position matters. What's the position of your heart? Are you really engaging in worship? Are you really studying the Word? Are you really praying and seeking the Lord? What's the position of your heart? What's the position of your life? If you're really searching, then you'll put yourself where you need to be, and you'll get yourself into the right position because you want what you're searching for. So what are you searching for? If you examine your life right now, what would your life tell you you're searching for? I think there's a lot you can learn by where you place yourself and the position of your heart. It'll answer some of those questions. So my friends, what are you searching for? The second thing that we find in the second verse here, that was verse 45, verse 46, brings this to mind. As the merchant is searching for the pearl, guess what he finds? A pearl. This brings to mind my next question. What if you find it? What are you searching for? And then, my friends, what if you find it? What if you actually find the thing that you are searching for? What are you going to do? What's your response? How are you going to handle it? Are you prepared? What if you find it? So many people will say they want the truth. They want to know Jesus. They want to have a life with Him. They want to follow Him. They want to find their purpose, their calling. They want that. That's what they're searching for. If I asked any one of you, you'd probably answer, yes, that's what I'm searching for. I don't know how many people I've talked to over the course of my life. I said, yes, I'm searching for Jesus. And then there comes a point where they encounter Him, where they feel like He's calling them. There's conviction in their life, and they end up saying, well, you know what? I'm okay with my life the way it is. So you find what you're searching for, but then all of a sudden, maybe I actually don't want it. That's crazy to me. What if you actually find what you're searching for? So this man finds this pearl, and he's ready. He's ready to rock and roll. He knows what he's going to do as soon as he finds it. He's got a plan. So we're all searching for something. And the truth is, we tend to find what we're searching for, we tend to find what we're looking for, whatever it may be. This man's searching for a pearl. And I love how in the parable it says he's searching for pearls, very specific. Guess what he finds? A pearl of great price. Now, you might have glossed over that, but I think that's an important thing. It doesn't say that he finds a gem of great price. It doesn't say that he found a bunch of gold. He finds a pearl. Why is that important? Because we tend to find what we are looking for. People who are looking for a reason to be offended are often offended. They find reasons. People who are looking for faults in others or in church, I can't be a part of church because there's all these faults. If you're looking for faults, you're going to find them. If you're looking for hurts, you're going to be hurt. If you're looking to be offended, you're going to be offended. My friends, what are you looking for in life? What you're looking for, I guarantee you're probably going to find. What if you're looking for truth? If you're looking for truth, if you're looking for Jesus, I tell you what, you're probably going to find Him. Because again, Jesus says in Matthew 7:7, if you seek, you will find. If you knock on the door, He's going to open. He wants you to find Him. We tend to find what we're looking for. I think, unfortunately, a lot of us are not actually looking for truth. We're not actually looking for a deep relationship with Jesus, because the truth that comes into our life from that, it costs something, and it's difficult. I think a lot of us are looking for comfort. we're looking for affirmation. Some of us are looking for offense. We're always offended. We're always hurt. We're always victims. You tend to find whatever it is that you're looking for. I want to search for pearls. I want to find the pearl of great price. I want to find the kingdom. You guys want to search for the kingdom with me? Amen? I want Jesus. Not only do you tend to find what you're looking for, but you need to be ready for what you're looking for. You need to be ready for whatever it is you're looking for. So if you want a relationship with Jesus, you're here today because you're searching. You're here today because you are seeking answers. You want to know what the Word of God says. You want to know what it means to really follow Jesus. If you're really asking those questions, you got to be ready for the answers. And then you've got to be ready to walk out whatever the answers really are. And sometimes they're not what we wanted them to be. Sometimes it's more difficult than we want it to be. But it's still the truth. It still leads to Jesus. Are you ready for that? I say that because this man, he finds this pearl. He finds what he's looking for, but it costs him everything he has. He immediately goes and sells everything he has so he can buy this pearl of great price because that's what he wanted. And he's ready. He's not upset about it. He doesn't think twice about it. He moves. He knew what he was going to do. And sometimes we claim to want something, but once we find it, we don't make any of the sacrifices that are needed to keep it. I had a friend growing up. I worked with him. I used to do hardwood floors. It feels like another lifetime ago, but I worked in hardwood flooring and when I was 18 to about 20 or so. And my roommate was also the guy I worked with. And he had this girlfriend at the time. And he would always tell me and my buddies how blessed he was for this girl. And they'd been dating since they were teenagers. They were dating for years at that point. And he was so thankful. He loved this girl. They were dating for years. And after a few years, and you know how this goes, there's started to be some mounting pressure for him to marry her. And he always told us how blessed he was. And he was not an easy guy to love, and she stuck with him, and he was really blessed. And then we started telling him, it was like, man, you gotta lock this up. She's not gonna stick with you forever. And it was like years going by. He wouldn't commit. And you know what happened? She left him. And when she left, he was devastated. It's like, she was the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, she was. She was. And you lost her. Why? Because he wasn't willing to commit. He wasn't willing to make the sacrifice that's necessary to keep what he wanted in the first place. How crazy is that? Guys, we do that all the time. And we do that with Jesus. We say we want truth. We say we want a relationship with him. And then he comes into our life. We encounter his presence. We are filled with the conviction of the Holy Spirit. We know it seems that it comes all at once sometimes, that we know I need to steer my life this direction. The Lord makes it just plain what he wants for us. And in that moment, we have an opportunity to receive what we've been searching for and follow him. But so often, we say, you know what, it's not worth the cost. I like my life the way it is. I want to keep doing these things. I want to keep hanging out with these people. And we're really saying to the creator of the universe, you know what? No thanks. The cost isn't worth it. And that to me is insanity. That makes no sense to me. It shows, I think, that we weren't really searching in the first place. Which bears the next question. What is it worth to you? What is it worth to you? What are you searching for? What if you find it? What is it worth to you? This man sells everything so he can take this pearl. And I love that in the parable, and this is exactly like the parable before it. See, there, and I forgot to mention this, there is an obvious difference between these two parables. In the first parable that we studied last week, the man just stumbles upon the great treasure. He's working the field, he finds this great treasure, he sells everything he has, he takes the treasure. In this one, I don't know if you noticed this, the big difference is that this man is purposefully searching for this. This is exactly what his life mission has been. He wanted this pearl, and he finds it. And once he finds it, he knows it's worth more than anything he has. Everything he has. He sells it all and he takes it. He was ready. He didn't hesitate. He wanted the pearl more than anything else. And that's what I want to ask you this morning. What is it worth? What is the kingdom worth to you? What is your relationship with Jesus Christ worth to you? What is it all worth? Is it worth the effort to find it? You know, are you getting tired of coming to church and listening to sermons? Like, man, I could be doing something else with my Sunday morning. Is a relationship with Jesus really worth this? Hopefully I'm not that boring each week, but, maybe. It does take effort. Is it worth studying the Word every day? Is it really worth setting aside time to pray? Is it really worth changing my habits, changing the way I live my life so I can have a few different disciplines? And is it really worth the effort that it takes to find Jesus? Is it worth that? Is it worth it to you? Now, I know my answer. Yes, it is. But is it worth it to you? Is it worth it to you? A life of discipline, a life of purposefully following Jesus. Is that worth it to you? Is it worth the cost to keep it when you find it? Is it worth the effort to find it, and is it worth the cost to keep it? Those are some great questions for us to ask ourselves this morning. Salvation, following Christ, serving Him throughout our life. There are sacrifices that come into play. There are. If you really want to call them sacrifices, because ultimately you get eternal life, so is that really a sacrifice at all? I think that's where it's all coming down. For the man who got this pearl, it wasn't a sacrifice at all for him to sell everything he had to get that pearl, because that's what he wanted. And the truth is, the things we really want in life, it's not a sacrifice at all to go through the process of attaining them. I read about guys like Tom Brady, and I don't care what you think about him. I'm not saying I'm a fan, but just guys like him, like LeBron James, these guys who are the greatest at what they do. And those two guys specifically, they played their sports for over 20 years at the top levels of the sport. They kept that level for over 20 years. These all-time greats, and you read about them and you learn about the sacrifices that they have to make. And LeBron, he's still going. Again, I don't know what you think of him. Bryce is like a super fan over here. He loves LeBron. He's more of a Luka guy, but they're together now, so it's all right. And you read about LeBron, and he makes, I don't know what he eats. He makes all these sacrifices in his diet. He spends all his time, focusing on his body and working out and his physical abilities. And the same for Tom Brady. They make all these sacrifices. They can't go to certain restaurants. They won't spend time doing this. They're just locked in. And you think about all the things they miss out on. But to them, are they really missing out on anything? It's what they want. And they're working as hard as they can for the thing that they want. I think about my marriage with Sarah, and, there's a lot of things that she and I, neither of us can or will ever be able to do because now we're married to each other, and that changes our lives. And they're you could look at them, I guess, as sacrifices. You know, if I want to have a great marriage, then I'm not going to spend every evening going out somewhere else. If I want to have a great marriage with Sarah, I have to invest in that relationship. If I want to have a great marriage with Sarah, then I have to not be in a relationship with other women. You know, it might maybe sound like a sacrifice to some people, but you know, that's what has to happen for me to have a great marriage. And so I look at that and say, that's not a sacrifice at all, because that's what I want. And so I don't care about that other stuff. It's not a sacrifice. I can't take any job that I may want and just go around the country. There's things that I just can't do that I don't even consider. Why? Because I have a wife and I have kids and my family is vitally important to me. So all that other stuff is off the table. But it's not a sacrifice. I don't count the cost because I have what I want. And I think that's the point. Mike, are you helping me with this? Where's Mike at? Yeah. There you are in the very front. I looked right at her. Still didn't see her. If you're counting the cost to follow Jesus, then I don't think you understand what it is you'd really be doing in the first place. If you have to count the cost before you follow your Creator, if you have to count the cost before you say, Lord, I'm all yours, then I don't know that you truly grasp the value that stands before you. Because we don't count the cost for things that we really want. You don't count the cost for a great marriage. You don't count the cost to achieve greatness in your career. You don't count the cost for things that are of immense value. My friends, maybe you've been in a position for some time where you've been wanting to follow Jesus, but it hasn't seemed worth it to you yet. You've been counting the cost. May I challenge you this morning? May I challenge you this morning that there's nothing in your life worth giving up a relationship with Jesus Christ for. Nothing. It's nothing. One day, this life on earth will cease. You will breathe your last breath. All of the things that we toiled for here on earth will fade away. One thing remains: your relationship with Jesus Christ. That's all that's left when this life ceases. And for those who are his disciples, that's when true life begins. Life more abundantly, praise God. I challenge you this morning. If you're holding back because you don't want to make the sacrifice, and this morning, I hope you see that it's really no sacrifice at all. We get everything, and we ultimately lose nothing. It's all found in Jesus, and it's so worth it. If I could just invite the prayer team to come back up here with me, and I'll join you guys down here. Come on up and go back where you were, if you don't mind, during worship. Micah's going to lead us through a time of worship. Would everybody stand, please? Let's stretch your legs.